This week is a significant time in both Jewish and contemporary secular calendars, where we wrapped up two substantial processes. At the end of the book of Bereshit, we completed an internal process with the words Chazak, Chazak, v'nitchazek, with the ending of the parasha of Vayechi. The second was the unprecedented year of 2020. Parashat Vayechi touched on the questions of what is a well-lived and valuable life, and what kind of blessings would we want in our lives to carry on for posterity? For many of us, 2020 was an unprecedented and substantial year in our lives because it cut deep into the fabric of our own sense of security across the board, leaving no population untouched. The industrious and retired, the healthy and the sick, those with financial wealth and those without, the outgoing and the solitude, all were affected by an invisible, elusive, and insatiable nemesis. Echoing the words of our great sages in the Talmud of Brachot, just as their faces are diverse, so their opinions vary. Kashem shepartzufeim shonim, kach deotem shonot. So too, each and every one of us responded differently to this unexpected challenge placed before us. We all have been touched and will never be the same. Just like Yaakov Avinu, who in his struggle with an unknown adversary throughout the darkness of night was changed forever in a moment by being touched in a place most vulnerable to him. A man of much success, accumulated wealth, and bearing the responsibility of the lives of his family was now left limping on the eve of his own day of judgment. A day echoed much later in the tefillah of Unatan Tokef, who by sword and who by wild beast, who by earthquake and who by plague, who shall be serene and who tormented, who shall become impoverished and who wealthy, who shall be debased and who shall be exalted. Yaakov could have fallen into despair, but rather we are taught that he was blessed. He was blessed by the same unknown, elusive, and overpowering adversary. That he, Jacob, the man that struggled through darkness of night for life and light, would now have a new name and identity, and inevitably be able to overcome all the seemingly all-powerful forces in our lives, as well as any man that came before him. We now come back, years later, on his deathbed, with his family and loved ones around him, the only true eternal wealth a person can accumulate in this world. He is at peace and content, for he has struggled and grown. He has been gifted 17 years of happiness and peace in the place least expected, a foreign land. A land that he never anticipated, whose culture went against the grain of his own personal convictions. Armed with the inner sight of prophecy, he saw from the beginning of generations to the end of days. He knew that his offspring would encounter terrible pain and affliction, humiliation and degradation, but still, he was at peace and in tranquility. Why? How? You may ask. The answer is in the blessings that he bestowed on others. Like all blessings we possess in our lives, that is the central teaching and the final message of the book of Bereshit. Life is a process. We will be presented by earth-shattering floods and challenges, but we must embrace the journey and hardships. For in holding on to light, our inner convictions, drawing our innate unique strengths, we grow. And once we take in order to give forth, we now become a wellspring to others. That is where happiness, fulfillment, and serenity are found. Not on an exotic island sitting on the beach with drink in hand. Yaakov's blessings to us was, the angel who redeemed me from all harm, bless the lads. In them may my name be recalled, and the names of my fathers, Abraham and Isaac. And may they be teeming multitudes upon the earth. His resounding message was bestowed upon us from the scars of his own experience and enlightenment. Empowered with the eternal vision of prophecy, he must have thought himself when bestowing upon his offsprings these blessings. I too was young. I dreamt and thought that I was invincible. I had to do things that went against the grain of what I assumed I should have to. I stepped forth out of the comfort of my parents' home. I was alone in the wilderness of night. I had nothing to protect me but my dreams. Even when I arrived in a foreign land, penniless, nobody, I knew how to look deep inside and find strength that I thought I did not possess. I found love and protection. I worked hard with integrity and conviction. God was with me because I was with Him. And in that moment, when I stood at the abyss of death, I was blessed with a new life. I chose light, and a new day dawned. My children, that which I have loved and have sacrificed most for in my life. Hear my message. Take that what I was taught. Hold on to what is noble. Go forth and give. Know your limitations and create healthy boundaries. Find balance, beauty, and affinity. Then you too shall suck the marrow of life. You will revel in your journey. You will find what we all seek, happiness. Your blessings will overflow and affect others. And then you will be gifted with the greatest gift a human can be given, to be a blessing unto others. Yaakov Avinu's death was not an end, but rather a beginning of a new stage in the process of life. So too, the culmination of a year and period unimaginable to all of us previously is now the start of a new stage in the evolution of our own consciousness and mankind's as well. We, the community involved in the momentous work here at Shabbat of a lifetime, have been startled and hit so drastically with something we could not even imagine like this before. We were gifted with bringing into our own personal spaces strangers from foreign lands that most we left as friends and family. That joy and inspiration in our lives was snatched away momentarily, and we were left with an open and gaping wound. A new day has dawned. In the tradition of the Jewish annual cycle, we have started the process of redemption described in the book of Shmot. 2020 has passed, and 2021 has beckoned with the mass vaccinations of populations unknown in the history of mankind. Our future is still unknown, but we can start to see the break of dawn and a new day before us. So many of us have missed that feeling of being in service of the Jewish people by extending a welcoming to Shabbat guests from all around the globe. I too have missed very much visiting your homes and sharing in your excitement as we prepared for another Shabbat of a lifetime experience. These last months have been very challenging, and the months before us still. But within us is instilled the blessings of Yaakov Avinu. The greatest gift a human can be given is to be a blessing unto others. I bless us all that we find in ourselves the resources to be again such a great blessing to others. Looking forward to a new year filled with Shabbat guests here in our rebuilt Jerusalem. Chazak, chazak, v'nitchazek, ba'ad Ameinu u'ba'ad arei Elokeinu.